Good morning, fellow heretics, purveyors of fine corruption and disgusting tentacle freaks. I hope you're all having a great day. I'm back, and I've finally gotten my grubby mitts on my new Chaos Space Marine Codex. It's just arrived, and I've decided to make a small series reviewing it, based on unit classifications. Now, there's a lot of small changes, and even one big oof from G-Dubs, since it's fairly well known right now that they did a little bit of a fuck-up, but we're gonna get there fairly soon. This will definitely end up being a tactical review, more of a serious series with speculations, strategic discussion, and obviously new information. Now, with that out of the way, let's get on to it. Today we're starting with the HQs and the characters in the new codex. I'll be covering the chapter proof changes as well, since they're included in here, and when it comes to characters, these changes are pretty massive. So before we can talk about the characters themselves, I gotta mention, the new codex allows us to take thunder hammers as a melee weapon. So we can technically field an absolute wank ton of these, but realistically, these will go very well on some characters. Note that these are counted as melee weapons, not Terminator melee weapons, so still no Chaos Hammernators. For now. Now, let's get to the characters themselves. We're obviously gonna start with Abaddon. Oh, Abaddon, you beautiful armless failure. Now, all memes aside, Abaddon's actually gotten a buff to his stat line and to his sword, and he already did an excellent job in combat. He now has 1 extra point of strength, so he's strength 5, and 1 extra wound, and his sword deals a flat 3 damage, while retaining his old demon weapon rule. The rest of him remains the same, so still 12-inch bubble of morale immunity to Heretic Astartes, 6-inch full reroll aura for the Black Legion, and still 2 bonus command points, and half damage taken rule. With the new changes, I don't know, there's honestly nothing Abaddon can't realistically kill with the right support. You can always cast Diabolic Strength and Warp Time on him to just shove him up any enemy's rectum. Diabolic Strength ups his sword strength to 8, and with Veterans, that means the sword can wound any relevant unit on a 2-up, which, with his 6 plus d6 default attacks and the bonus attack from Diabolic Strength, means a really bad day for any enemy without a 3-up and vol in melee. Now, on average, using Diabolic Strength, Veterans, and Wrath of Khorne on Abaddon mostly guarantees that he can remove any knight from play, for instance. Of course, that doesn't mean the enemy Castellan will just walk up and say hi to Abaddon melee, but hey, he's gonna wreck face no matter what. Sadly, his cost is staying the same, meaning that for all the awesome shit he can pull off, Abaddon still costs 240 points. Still, he brings decent support and most likely the deadliest melee of any Chaos character. Save maybe Karn. And since I've already mentioned our favorite swell guy, Karn the Betrayer has stayed pretty much the same since chapter approved, when they reduced his cost to 120 points. Arguably, he's the only character who could outswing Abaddon under the effect of the same abilities, namely Diabolic Strength to make his axe swing at strength 8, and Veterans to wreck anything easily, and with Wrath of Khorne, Karn comes at you with 3 fight phases, bringing 18 attacks onto anyone's ass before you get any increases via Slaughterborn. Now, of course, Karn will never ever fill the same role as Abaddon, as his support is almost non-existent and he likes to murder his friends, but as a beatstick, he's actually incredible for the low cost of 120, if he can make it into combat. A feat mostly achieved through Psyker powers, which, well, Khorne won't like, fuck that. Whatever makes the skulls fly works for me, and honestly, if we had any good delivery method, both Karn and his classic Berserker posse would be pretty much unstoppable. Carrying on to the other god-specific character, let's move on to everyone's friendly neighborhood molesting uncle, Lucius the Eternal. Oh boy. His stats have stayed the same, but he only costs 85 points as of chapter approved, making him extremely effective for the points cost if you, for some reason, want a slightly squishier duelist Slaaneshi Chaos Lord. His ranged weapons are actually extremely good for such a low cost, with both of the Doom Siren, which is just a much better heavy flamer, and the Lash of Torment, allowing him to shoot into and from melee, being extremely deadly, and the Master-crafted power sword he carries around makes for an okay melee weapon with a default damage of 2, for a character that gets to swing a decent number of attacks, especially against characters. The issue with him is, just like with Karn, we don't really have a way to deliver foot-slogging, punchy infantry as Chaos Space Marines, and you can't just really walk him up to the enemy. Also, a bit of an issue is that there's no real dueling between characters in 8th edition. There's no point to it. Why would you do that? You can just snipe people. As far as supporting a backline goes, you can always just get a Chaos Lord that will provide the same reroll aura for fewer points, so no. Moving on to what might be one of our Codex's main stars, however, we got Huron Blackheart, who, for 105 points, brings his normal Chaos Lord stats, save his attacks, which he has 5 of, and his little pet monster demon thingy, the Hamadria. His equipment isn't stellar, with a heavy flamer, a power fist, and a power axe. But what he does really well is bring you a super cheap command point if he's the Warlord, which will make for a lot more command points considering the Legion trait of his Red Corsairs. He also gets to cast a spell every turn as well, so he counts as a discount sorcerer to boot. Honestly, I personally would field Huron as the Warlord if I wasn't looking for a specific trait, as part of a command point farm battalion with just him, probably a sorcerer, or a Chaos Lord, and 15 Chaos Space Marines. That's it, 9 command points for super low cost. And you get to field Huron as a discount sorcerer. I'm looking forward to see if he gets any play, but I see some potential in him. I might be wrong though, who knows. Now next up we get a bit of a doozy with Fabulous Bile. Now, good old Fabulous Bill. He actually counts good stats. These haven't changed, but I gotta mention, this guy has default 6 attacks and strength 5. The issue here is that his gear and his special abilities are kinda lackluster. He only costs 90 points, and brings his super poisonous 18-inch range pistol with him. It wounds anything that's not a vehicle on a 2-up, and his Pimp Cane, which, well, it's just strength user, but brings an AP of -1 and D3 damage against non-vehicles. Nothing spectacular. But his special rules, oh boy. Well, one of his rules allows him to regenerate D3 wounds a turn, which makes him a little bit unkillable. But what really sets him apart as an interesting but rather stupid character is his Enhanced Warriors rule. I personally own Bill, and I've tried making him work, but the only unit I was ever pleased with buffing was a large squad of Terminators in a friendly game when they randomly got 1 toughness, and only lost 1 wounds on 1 guy. Not terrible, but highly questionable. I mean, you're never gonna see Terminators competitively. I don't really think he'll do a whole lot, but hey, maybe him buffing the new Obliterators or something might be worth. As far as the meta goes, he probably isn't ever gonna see a table this edition, he just doesn't really do anything. And we got the last named character in the Codex with Cypher. Now, Cypher hasn't changed at all and still brings us pretty damn cool pistols for only 80 points. There's no real point in bringing him around unless you also bring some Fallen for him to provide support to, but with the new Fallen special attachment, we might actually see him around. And if anything, well, he's decently shooty for 80 points, so hey, why not? Now, there's not really a whole lot to say about Cypher, so let's get onto the non-named HQs. And we're starting with the best one, if you ask me. The Chaos Lords, they haven't changed much, but the powered armored one might actually become a lot more relevant, as he can now take a Thunderhammer and a jump pack. Oh yeah, you know where I'm going with this one. It is Chaos Lord Smash time, baby. While the Loyalist version, the Captain Smash, does indeed come with the Storm Shield, our Chaos Lord still carries the default 4-up in Vuln, so they could still work well, especially since we get Death to the False Emperor in Khorne's Wrath. An easy 8 swings from a Thunderhammer can threaten anything, and a Chaos Lord with a Thunderhammer and Jump Pack comes in at 114 points. Not to mention, we get to use all the buffs in the world on these boys because we got Sorcerers. I'm almost entirely convinced that these will see play, as there's no reason not to try. I'm certainly gonna try, and I'm sure they'll fit decently into the meta, as a bit of a discount Captain Smash. You can actually replicate most of the effects the Blood Angels have on them. I mean, we get bonuses to a swing, bonuses to wound, we can warp time them, we get extra attacks, we can fight twice, we get pretty much everything, really. The Terminator Chaos Lords, however, don't really serve a purpose now. There's no reason I can see why anyone would field the Terminator Lord instead of Lord Smash. They cost slightly more and can take Thunderhammers, so I'm gonna make a safe guess that these boys will be hugging the shells for a long time. The only reason you might spot one of these is as the Warlord in the Bringers of Despair detachment, but even then, it'd be more of a fluff thing. Hard pass from me. The Sorcerers, of course, all of them, the Terminator, Jump Pack, or Foot Slogging versions have stayed the same. They're all still very, very good, and we're definitely gonna see a lot of them, maybe even more of them, as they make for great leaders to any detachment, while their powers not even being limited by Legion. You only need to have the right Chaos Mark. Not much to say about them, really, they're just great. There's gonna be plenty of Sorcerers just like before. Now for the other caster, the Master of Possession though, this one will probably see more play in armies built specifically around demons. They have the exact same points cost of a normal sorcerer, but they only have access to their specific malefic discipline. There's actually a lot of potential with these though, as you can certainly build an army around them and possessed, with some other sources of buffs and mixing marks of chaos, but more on that in a future video. The new Lord Discordant, of course, he's in here. I've talked about him. He's awesome. He'll see tables and he'll wreck face. The only thing I'm gonna add is that I can confirm his rumored low points cost. He's only gonna set you back 160 points if equipped with an autocannon. He does have a drawback, of course. 12 wounds means he's gonna get sniped, but he is a very, very threatening beatstick. What I do have more to add about, though, is the Warpsmiths. With their default loadout, so Melt-Up, Flamer, Tentacles, and Power Axe, Warpsmith only costs 60 points, while providing excellent support, especially paired with the new Lord Discordant. You can follow the pack of Demon Engines, repairing either the Lord or a Demon Engine every turn for an extremely low cost, while providing decent low-range firepower and even contributing to a brawl if needed. The issue I see with him is, well, he's foot slogging, so he'd have a hard time keeping up with him, but I'm looking forward to see how they turn out. Fairly sure these might see a few more tables now. Moving on, we got the Exalted Champion, who can now take a Thunder Hammer as well. Hell, he can even take 2 of them if he really wanted to, though it provides no gameplay benefit. These guys might see more play, as now they have something other than Berserkers to buff, and giving them a big smacky hammer might be worth it despite the high cost. Armed with a hammer, one of these guys will cost 91 points, and they are only foot slogging, so it's highly questionable. But I'll certainly build one with a pair of hammers one day. I mean, come on, who doesn't want a maniac with 2 huge hammers? And of course, the Exalted Champion's dumb little cousin, the Master of Executions, has been added to the Codex too. He comes with pretty much the same stats as the Champion, but has 1 extra attack and only costs 70 points with his default axe. I still think he ain't gonna do shit. I really don't like these guys, as they seem to feel no niche whatsoever, since Exalted Champions are just better at dueling other characters if you really want to do that, for some reason. We still have the Demon Princes, they're still here, and they haven't changed at all. What's likely to change about them in the meta, however, is how often we see them, since we can now field our own Smashlords. Winged Demon Princes seem a little overcosted, where new Hammer Boys costing 114 points. As for the last, but goddamn certainly not least, of our HQs, we got the new Dark Apostle. This one has changed a lot, even though he still has the same old stat line. He no longer has his reroll hits aura, as we all know, and instead carries his new priest rule with the prayer rolls to see what bonuses he provides. Issue is, he now costs 100 points before war gear though, so up to 104 with his maul, and if you want his 2 friends with him, which you will, those cost a total of 10 points too. They just have cultist stats, but they're very useful for the prayers, so on average, an Apostle will set you back 114 points, just like a Chaos Lord Smash. As far as seeing them on the table goes, I'm 100% convinced these will see plenty of fights. The prayers are freaking great. I mean, they even stack with Psychic powers and stratagems while carrying similar effects. The new Apostles are damn good. So that's about it with the HQs in the new Codex. Let me know what you'll be fielding more. Have the changes affected your army building ideas at all? Let me know in the comment section below. See you guys next time.